Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, that is Science Unlocked, and here we are on the second part of the chapter Heat from the 7th class Science NCERT textbook. So here we will be talking about the concept of heat transfer. So first of all, I have a few examples over here, after which we will be discussing about all the modes of heat transfer. The first example over here is when we heat up the end of one utensil, then on the other hand we will see that the other end of the utensil will also be heated up. The second example that we have is that if we will going to boil the water in a utensil, then automatically the heat is transferred from the utensil to the water and the water will start heating up. Now what happens is, over here we will see that the water on the top will also become heated up. It's not like this that only the bottom part will be heated up, the upper part of the container or the water will also heat up. The third example that we have is with reference to sun, that in spite of being so far from us, it is able to provide us the heat energy and the solar energy, that is the ultimate source of energy to us, and we are able to utilize that without this aspect that how far we are from the sun. So all these things are actually the different set of phenomena that we observe in nature and which are giving us the examples where we talk about the movement of heat or transfer of heat. So over here, if we are saying this thing that it is the transfer of heat, it is quite obvious that the heat will be transferred from the warmer or the hotter part of the object to the cooler part, or the situation where a particular nature or the part of the nature is under observation. So that will going to take place. Now when we talk about the different modes of heat transfer, and those we have taken up in the examples as well, that are the three modes of transfer that we generally observe, that is the conduction, convection and radiation. So these three modes of heat transfer we will going to deal up in detail. So the first category is the conduction process, where we talk about the heating up of the particles which are in adjacent proximity with each other. So it means that the particle which are here will be heated up because of the source of heat that we have, and then they will going to heat up the nearby particle, which will going to keep on transferring and creating instability till the overall temperature of the material become constant, or the other part of the material is also heated up. So this is known as the conduction process, where the transfer of heat takes place from the hotter end of an object to the colder end of the object. Now this thing is most of the time observed in reference to the metallic substances, where this is very easy to observe, and here is the example giving us this an idea, that if we will going to keep one empty utensil on the flame, it will going to get heated up from the bottom first, or the base first, and then the handle will also get heated up. The utensils or the spoons that we use for mixing things in the kitchen are also observed with the same phenomena, and this is nothing but the transfer of heat from the hotter base to the colder part of the utensil. And one such thing and one such example is over here, as over here we can see that there is a conductor which is kept over here, some wax is added over here, and the one part of the conductor is heated up, and because the heat is getting transferred, the wax will start melting and it will falling down. So that is how the conduction process is all about, where we talk about single kind of particles which will going to keep on moving and transferring the heat from one to the other. And with this aspect, we have one type or one categorization of material, that is conductors and insulators, where the conductors are basically the kind of material which will going to allow the heat to pass through them. On the other hand, the poor conductors or simply insulators are the kind of material which will not allow the heat to pass through them, and they have their respective usage, respective examples as per what exactly is happening over there. Now one such aspect with reference to transfer of heat is considered as thermal conductivity, where we talk about that how good or how efficiently an object is able to conduct the heat within. And after so many experiments and day-to-day examples, we have come to the conclusion that we will see that where the particles are in proximity with each other, they will going to have higher thermal conductivity, which says this thing that solids will going to have the maximum conductivity, then it will be less in liquids and it will be least in case of gases. And whenever we talk about the thermal conductivity or heat transfer, it is the condition where the heat is transferred from the hotter part to the cooler part of the object. So this process will keep on going on till a steady state is reached. That means now no more heat transfer can take place because it has reached to its maximum possibility. Now, the second mode of transfer of heat is convection process, where we say that it is the process where it is not only the object which get heated up but also the particles, which allow these particles to move away from the object and the source of heat because they have gained up the energy. And it is most of the times observed in the case of liquids and gases because they have the ability and condition where the particles are loosely packed, so they can escape or they can move in different direction after gaining the energy from the source of heat. So first we will be taking up the convection in water process, where we talk about the aspect that the heat is provided at the bottom, but the water which is at the topmost region will also get heated up. What exactly is happening is that the particles of water which are at the bottom will be heated up, they will gain the energy and they will move towards the upper region where the hotter particle will be releasing their energy. And while doing so, why it is happening? Because the particle of water which have gained the energy or which have become heated up, they have become lighter in weight. So there is a cavity created in the space from where they have escaped. So the cooler particle will come and there will be a movement, there will be a cycle which will take place. Now as over here I have been explaining the anti-clockwise direction, the same thing is taking place in clockwise direction as well. The direction is not fixed over here because the container is closed and there are some other aspects as well. Now over here the main aspect is this, that the material or the particle which will be near the flames will get heated up, will be expanding, and they will be moving away from the source of heat because they have become lighter in weight as well. So there will be a vacuum which will be created and the cold water will going to rush to that space so that the ultimate balance can be created. So gradually what will happen, the next set of cooler particle of water will also get heated up, will again rise, and the same cycle will keep on going, resulting into the process of this convection. And ultimately this will going to lead to the movement of water within the container and will lead to the even heating of water. The moment it will going to become equally heated up, it will going to either stop heating, means depends on the source that we are talking about, and if it is the natural source where the source cannot be stopped and it can, the energy which is the source has been providing is cannot be maintained or cannot be observed or cannot be controlled, then it will going to evaporate. Now the same set is observed with reference to the gases as well, and here we will be talking about the convection of air, which leads to the process or formation of the wind. Whenever we talk about air, it is not only the air that we talk about, it is also the concept of wind. So the moving air is called as wind. So it's quite obvious from the convection in water that whenever this thing will going to happen, means the heating of air will going to take place over there, it will going to lead to the creation of same vacuum from where the air is heating up, and the cooler air will going to take the place for that space which is occupied or which has been created in the nature. So as a result of that, again and again the movement of air will going to take place, which leads to the formation of wind, and the phenomena of convection in air is observed. So in both the cases we have observed that it is the part where the particles after getting heated up will going to become lighter and they will going to rise higher and higher, and there will be a vacuum created from where the particles has escaped. Ultimately the cooler particle will take the place of that particular space from where the hotter particle have moved out. So because of this phenomena, there is another phenomena that we have to look into, is the concept of land breeze and sea breeze. So first we are looking into the sea breeze, where the process or phenomena is observed in case of coastal region, because over here the energy of heat, the energy of sun in the form of heat that will be received by these two regions will be different, and as a result of that, what we will see, that during the daytime what will happen, the land will become heated up easier as compared to water. It will take some time to become heated up. So ultimately what will happen, the air near the land will also become heated up very easily because of the land. Ultimately it will going to rise higher, and in the end what will happen, it will move towards the region where there is availability of transfer of heat. That means it will move higher, and it will move towards the sea region. On the other hand, the air which is cooler on the sea level, because it has not heated up so easily, it will going to take some time to get heated up properly, so it will going to start coming towards the coastal region. So if a person is standing in between the sea and land, the person will observe that the wind is actually coming from the sea towards the land. So in this case we see, or we say this thing, that ultimately the sea breeze is observed, or you can say the sea breeze is created, because if the person is standing over here, they will going to experience this chain of wind, not the upper chain of wind. So over here we will see that during the daytime sea breeze are created. Which phenomena is working over here? That the water and the land that are there in the region will going to get heated up at different rates. So automatically there will be a difference in the air, which will going to be warmer and which will going to be colder. So as a result of that, the convection process will takes place, and automatically the breeze or the wind will be created. Now during the night time we will observe the exact opposite phenomena, because we know this thing that land, as it get heated up easier or faster, it will going to get cooler down in the equal faster rate. So automatically the opposite will going to takes place, because over here the sea will going to again take time in cooling process. So now what will happen, the air which will going to be in the sea region will going to become hot easier, or will going to remain hotter, whereas the land will become cooler. So on the other hand, what will happen, the air will going to rise from the sea and it will move towards the land region. So automatically the space which is created over here will be occupied by the cooler air, as a result of which, if a person is standing right in between the sea and land, they will observe that the wind is coming from the land towards the sea. So that is how the concept comes in with reference to land breeze. Because it is coming from the land, so we say that it is the land breeze. So let's have a comparative analysis of both the things. During the daytime, what we will observe, that the land will going to get heated up, air will going to rise high over here, and the air from the sea will going to come towards the land. On the other hand, if we talk about the land breeze, it will going to be opposite. Over here the sea will become remain heated up and the land will become cooled down. So automatically the air from the sea will going to rise high and will move towards the circulatory motion, or the overall circulation of air will going to take place, leading to formation of land breeze and sea breeze. Now last but not the least is the third mode of heat transfer, which is about radiation, where we talk about the situation where the object which is getting heated up will not only going to receive the heat but will also radiate it. Means it will going to get rid of the heat in terms of energy. So the same thing is observed when with reference to the sun, that sun, in spite of being so far away from us, will be able to provide us the heat, and this process actually does not require any kind of medium. So that is also one aspect related with radiation, that in case of conduction as well as convection we require a medium through which the heat will be transferred, but in case of radiation the same is not necessary. So this is one of the factor related with radiation, and this is one of the factor which leads to the heating up of earth because of sun's radiation. Now it will not going to be like this, that only the sun will going to radiate the heat. It is any kind of material, any kind of object which has obtained some energy, which has gained some energy due to heating process, will going to ultimately result in the radiation process. The same thing is observed in case of humans as well, because over the time what happens, the metabolic activity inside the human body increases, so they will start radiating the heat because the body becomes hotter from inside. So the same thing is observed in nature as well. Now these were the three modes of heat transfer. Now the last part of this topic is that these all phenomena or modes of heat transfer are observed with reference to our day-to-day life and day-to-day choices. Like in case of the kinds of clothes we wear, like in summers we prefer to wear something which is of lighter color, so that the object or the cloth will going to radiate the heat and it will going to remove it. It will not going to lead it to the absorption by the body. On the other hand, if we are talking about the winters where we require heat, at that time we will going to have the things which are going to be darker in color, so that we can keep our body warmer during the winters and cooler during the summers. With this we are done with the topic of heat and the chapter of heat. Next time we will going to come up with some different topic, some new topic. So till then, take care, keep learning.